Alright, so welcome to the first official webcast, podcast, videocast, wait, which? For my new channel. I got a blue ice, not blue, but just a blue snowball microphone. Seems to do pretty well. Definitely improves over the headset. So basically, what this channel is going to be is more or less just a lot of Magic streaming, deck techs, things like that. I'm kind of more of a Johnny player, so I like to take decks that do well, but then kind of give them my own spark. But also like tribal stuff. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go ahead and look at my version of the red-black dragon decks. I love dragons. I'm a little sad that they're going to be rotating in a couple of months, but I think with the Avaricious Dragon, we might have a madness thing, but we'll cover that when it comes. So this is basically Tom Ross's deck. He gave me a lot of really good ideas. So starting here with the lands, we have 26 lands. It does seem like a lot. We are running a lot of 4 and 5 color, or excuse me, mana cost creatures. And Murderous Cut doesn't really count because you're rarely costing that for more than 2, maybe 3 if you just have the mana. It's your end of turn, and Hangerback Walker's usually 4 at the most. And so, but it's really good for the to make sure you're not mana screwed, because like Tom Ross's article said, I'd rather be mana flooded than mana screwed. I don't think he said exactly like that, but it's basically the gist. So starting here at the 1-drop slot, we have a Duress and a Transgress the Mind. He went with 2 Duresses. I like the Transgress the Mind because I'm seeing a lot of bigger stuff that I want to get out of their hands, even like 3 and 4 mana cost creatures. This does really good with. We'll go over the sideboard, but for this we'll just do kind of a 2 of there, 1 of each. And then we have a couple Fiery Impulses. I like it more than Wild Slash. I know Wild Slash can go to the face, but really what we want to do is we want to turn on Spell Mastery, maybe cast 1 of these, take out an early guy, throw out some Draconic Roars later, and then later in the game, if we need to hit something like a Manus Rider, or, you know, Reflector Mage, anything with 3 toughness, we can hit it with Fiery Impulse. And then we already went over Transgression Mind. Grasp of Darkness. 2 black can be a little tough on turn 2, but we are running, let's see, we're running 4, 8, and 11 fetch lands, each that can fetch for a swamp, and also Smoldering Marsh. So I think we're okay. We do have the 1 Haven and the Spear Dragon here. I'm thinking about adding a second for kind of the grindier matches when they take out 1 or 2 of our dragons and we just want to get one of them back to finish off the game, especially like a Kolagons. Do that end of turn when maybe they can't deal with them, bring it back and help them close out the game. But we have the Grasp of Darkness. It's a really good value, -4 until end of turn. I think it'll be a lot better once Rhino and Tasigur rotate, but it's still really good right now. It still hits Anafenza and Wingmate Rock, which is really bad for us. Wingmate Rock, we don't have a clear answer to. We have Murderous Cut, which can get rid of 1 of them, but Grasp of Darkness does a really good job for earlier in the game. And we have Draconic Roar, which is the all-star of the deck. A lot of people say Kolaghan and Regen are. They are the finishers. They are the reason this deck exists. But part of the reason the deck exists is also a Draconic Roar, because it's basically a lightning bolt, a lightning strike with both. You get both. You hit the creature for 3, and you hit the player for 3. This is excellent early game, because what this deck wants to do is it wants to get an incremental damage, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8. By turn 5 or 6. So they're down to about 12 or 13, just off maybe a couple Draconic Roars or off a Phoenix. off, just a creature hitting them, for something. And then you swing in with your dragons. So Draconic Chorus really is a linchpin card in the deck. Here's something you may not really see much in this deck, but I really like it. You can see that I'm doing a 2-3 or a 1-2 split between Phoenix and Drana. You could go the other way if you wanted. I think it's a little easier to get 2 red than 2 black on turn 3, so that's why I went with this. But a Drana turn 3, if you don't have a Regent, a Phoenix on turn 4 is really good, because Drana's going to hit for 3, right? And then, I think 3, either 2 or 3. I'm not sure how the first strike affects her damage. And then Phoenix is immediately going to hit for 3, so you're going to get 6. So it kind of, it's not quite as good as having a Regent, but it sometimes is a little bit better, because you're getting a hasty Phoenix on turn 4. Thopter Engineer is really good. Turns all your Thopters into hasty creatures, and it's a 1/3 body that can block a lot of kind of wide strategies. Radiant Flames. This is here just because I actually haven't bought, gosh, I think it's Sundering Earth, the thing that hits everything without flying to everything without flying. I'm going to pick that up on MTGO Traders. But for right now, it's Radiant Flames. This could be a Kozilek's Return. I don't have that either. I'm actually waiting for it to go down in price because it's falling pretty fast right now. So I'm just going to wait till it continues to go down. But yeah, that's what that's doing there. It's good for wide strategies. I like to keep it in my main deck just to have it there. Just so if they do go wide, you basically just don't have to give up game 1. You do have an answer. And then you have a Pia and Kira Nalar. This is also good against wide strategies game 1 and even game 2 or 3. 4 power, 3 creatures, 2 of them which are flying. And late game, this can get in that little extra bit of damage when you've gone down to like 5 and you're just not drawing dragons, but you have a bunch of mana up and some Thopters or some walkers. This can do a lot of work. Regent and Kolagon. Regent is just, it should be called Thunderbreak value, because that's what it is. It's a 4/4 flyer, which is already great for 4. And then basically it says, and here's the key. Let's go ahead and read that. It says whenever a dragon, it doesn't say whenever Thunderbreak Regent, it says whenever a dragon you control becomes a target of a spell or ability and opponent controls, Thunderbreak Regent deals 3 damage to that player. So you can imagine you get a Regent on turn 4, you get a Kolagon Storm's Fury on turn 5, which is how this deck wants to win, dashed in. Let's say they have a Murderous Cut up. So you're dashing Kolagon in, they Murderous Cut him, he's still going to take 3 because the Regent is out there. So if you do something like a turn 4 Regent, turn 5 Regent, turn 6 Kolagon, now he's taking 6 to eliminate. He's taking 6 to the face to eliminate 1 creature. That is really, really excellent value. And then we have Murderous Cut. Murderous Cut is amazing because we have so many fetches. You can often cast this as early as turn, turn 3, and it just destroys anything. Anything that just doesn't have indestructible or hexproof. It's amazing. Then we have the 4 of the Kolagon Storm's Fury. Really good stuff. I think this card, I was a huge fan of this card when I used to run my Mardu Dragon deck. I always thought he was so underpowered, or excuse me, not underpowered, undervalued by the community as a whole. But I just really love him. He's, you get a Regent and him out there turn 5, they don't have an answer, that's 12 in the air. And if you already had a Phoenix, or even, heaven help the opponent, a Drana, oh my goodness, it's probably north of 15 damage, maybe 15 damage even on turn 5, which not too many decks can deal with. There's not really too many Soul Sisters decks in Standard. Then we have Sarkhan. Some people run 4 Kolagons. I like to run the Sarkhan. It's really up to you. I like the Sarkhan just because you can do Regent, Sarkhan, Storm's Fury, and then still dash him in. Not worried about having two in your hand. But having the extra Kolagon does give you an extra chance to get more value out of the Draconic Core. So to each their own. But I really like Sarkhan. I think he was really hyped before release and then kind of fell off. But I think in this deck he just does a lot of work. You have a creature out there that you just don't have a kill spell for, but you just need to get rid of, you can do that. And then if you just need to finish out the game to get another dragon out there, he's flying and indestructible. So unlike Kolagon, basically once you put him out there, if he resolves, he's getting in, unless you block him. So, and then Hangerback Walker, really good about, he's basically there. You're probably not going to pump him more than once. Unless you're just really mana flooded. And then he works really well with Pia and Kira. So basically imagine like a turn 4 Pia and Kira. You have like a 2/2 walker already out. Basically you just sack the walker and deal 2 damage. And then now you have probably 4 flyers in the air. So it's really good value. He's great about clogging up the board early. That's what he's there to do. As a bonus, he can generate flyers, which is what we do. The meta is really weak to flyers right now, which is why this deck does so well. So basically, what the deck wants to do is it wants to kill their guys and deal incremental damage early until about turn 3 or 4, and then finish them off with the dragons. That's what the deck does. It's fairly straightforward, but what Tom Ross did is he took out the Hordling Outburst, which is what I previously had in the deck, along with a Zulaport to get extra value because I wanted the life gain. But in this case, he put in the Thopter Engineer, and it works really well with P and Kira and Hangerback Walker. This is a really refined deck. It's really tight. And then so we go to the sideboard. My sideboard is pretty different than his. You have an extra duress and a couple of transgress the minds for when you're dealing with ramp, control, self-inflicted wound against Abzan, green white megamorph, hardened scales, anything that runs green or white. Baltung Invocation when you're dealing with burn because it gave you life. An extra Crux of Fate. I may take one of these out, but this is just good when you're facing wide decks. Roast again for it's basically Siege Rhino or Tassiger. If you're facing them, again more Radiant Flames if you're facing wide. Outpost Siege. I'm still working. I guess if you have a really grindy matchup, then this is really good card advantage. And you'll notice I have the Kolagon's Command in the sideboard. I want to argue with you if you could cut maybe 1 or 2 things out of here, maybe a Grasp of Darkness and put in a command, maybe a cut, well, probably not a cut, but maybe I don't know, Radiant Flames and put in another command. I want to argue with you because it's really good value. Making them discard a card. This is really, you probably don't want to be casting this on turn 3 because at that point they'll probably have cards they don't mind discarding. When this comes really valuable is on turn 5 or 6 when you don't have a dragon to cast and they're down to 2 or 1 cards, and you basically make them give, especially if they're mana, they're out of mana or they're just either mana flooded or mana screwed. Just make them get rid of something, or you can return a dragon, or a phoenix if you want to do haste, or something like that. It's really good value. And so that's going to be the deck tech. We're going to be doing a few sample games here, and then we're going to be doing a standard just kind of match game to kind of show what the deck can do. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to be creating a YouTube channel pretty quickly, but right now we're just putting this up on Twitch just to do a little testing. If you have any comments or advice, definitely let me know.